Episode 11 of Explicit Materia is here, coming at you right after the biggest fight of the century. And it features my good friend Spencer Thomas, otherwise known as Speedo Spencer, aptly named for his attire for when he works the merch tents at Warped Tour, which is literally just a Speedo and his own manliness. He was my drum tech for a couple years while I was in Five Knives. We've been close friends ever since. In this episode, we talked the Warped Tour, the ever-changing state of Nashville, Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, and a little bit of football. Now, this podcast was recorded last week, so when we're talking about Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather, we're obviously giving our thoughts pre-fight. So forgive me for that. So we only talk about it for like 2 minutes and kind of give our thoughts and predictions and stuff like that. But yeah, you know what? Real quick about the fight, and then I'll shut up about it until it comes back up again. First, I just want to say, mad respect to Floyd, man. That was an epic performance for a man who's 40 years old, and it is something we haven't seen from him in years, decades maybe. He went out swinging. Whatever you think of his antics or behavior outside the ring, as a boxer, he deserves the title as best in the world, and he showcased it this weekend. It was incredible. Now, to Conor. You may not like his cocky attitude or his like borderline psychotic belief in himself, but you can't deny the courage it took to try and change the face of combat sports as we know it. It was a damn good fight. I mean, look at it this way. This MMA fighter took only 3 months to focus on boxing, a sport he doesn't specifically train for, usually, and boxed the arguably best boxer in the world, and actually won about 4 rounds, give or take. To the people who said he couldn't land a punch and said he would have no chance, I think you have some splaining to do. Infinitely better fight than Mayweather-Pacquiao. Infinitely better. No question. Okay, let's get on with the podcast. Here he is, Spencer Thomas. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have the one and only Spencer Bangarang.
Bangarang. Speedo Spencer.
Speedo Spencer, is that your new nickname now?
I mean, I guess. If you wear a Speedo for 2 months straight, you become Speedo Spencer.
Which started when he went on tour with us, Five Knives and Warped Tour.
Yep. And stuck all the years.
Mm-hmm. So let's begin with, you just came back from yet another Warped Tour.
Another one. I said I was never going to do another one.
You have become the celebrity roadie.
I try. As long as they keep paying me.
I see your Instagram posts all the time, and I see people like tagging you in Instagram posts, and it's just like, man, you just always seem like you're just having the best time. Doing a job that doesn't look a lot of fun.
You have to find a way to pass the time. That's for sure. So it's like there's anywhere from 100 to 200 merch people, and you got to stick out. You got to kill 12 hours a day. So why not do a Speedo and goof off and just have a good old time? Like, you got to make the best of it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So how was it this last run? And who'd you do it for? Like, it was kind of in the middle of the Warped Tour this year, right? That you kind of jumped on.
Yeah, I jumped on a week and a half in with a buddy of mine that I've done a couple other tours with, Watsky. He's a rapper based out of San Francisco, kind of a rapper poet. He started doing spoken word, started putting music to his poetry, and can rap. I mean, he's a phenomenal rapper. He can spit like crazy.
Right on.
But kind of like a nerdy fan base, and I mean that in a good way. You know, kind of like MC Chris's fan base. It's a very niche market, but hung out with him, and then we had another rapper named Futuristic that was in our crew as well. So. Yeah, just hopped on a week and a half in. I got the phone call, and it was all downhill from there. But it Warped Tour was good. The attendance was a little down from previous years, but it was a very hodgepodge mix of different artists this year. There wasn't any really big name people.
Who was all on Warped Tour this year?
Some of the big ones were Attila, I Prevail, Anti-Flag.
Anti-Flag. Ooh,
Yeah,
wow.
which surprisingly not a huge crowd for them.
Well,
and so
they're
they were
relatively. I mean, that was like during when I was.
yeah.
Before I was a youngin, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Guar, which was
oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Oh my God, Guar was part of Warped Tour this year.
You could always tell when Guar got done playing because just kids coming by and fake blood, all day long. I was like, oh, Guar just got done.
Was there a good crowd for Guar?
Yeah, Guar had a huge crowd every day. They actually they ended up having to probably 2 weeks into the tour make them the headliner, so to speak, every night because they had so much production. Trying to move them over. Miles was in charge of them.
Oh man,
So good old Miles. Yeah,
fucking love Miles.
He put his foot down and he basically was like, "No, we're just going to make them go last every night, and that way."
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand if every other band, kind of has the same equipment, and you can gauge like how long it takes between sets. And
Yep.
but with Guar or a band like Guar, it's like
I mean, they had lasers, fog machines, obviously the blood cannons. I think it was like the fake semen they shoot out, like all the weird stuff that they have. Like that's not something you do in a 25-minute changeover by any means. So, they had a whole semi just for their production.
God,
Which,
man.
that's insanity.
It's so insane to me that they're still as popular as they are. I mean, they've always just been just this trajectory of like the crazy metal band and giant ogre suits spraying fake sperm on people.
Yeah.
And they've done that for like 25 years, maybe longer.
Well, and it's, just seeing them every day and like the amount of people who didn't know really who Guar was, but like just had heard through the grapevine that this is what they're going to. And then seeing the look on people's faces was phenomenal every day.
Jeez, man. That's fucking crazy. I mean, so what were you in charge of? Like, were you in charge of merch or?
Yeah, I was merch managing. So, we were on quote unquote one of the main stages. So we had a little bit more volume for traffic for people coming by to buy T-shirts. So I ran our signing lines. We had 2 signing lines a day. In charge of all my inventory, setting a tent up, basically pushing product and trying to sell whatever I could. So a lot of T-shirts, a lot of vinyls, all the crazy good stuff. So
I mean, you love like you always love like going out on the road and doing stuff like that. I mean, do you find a future in it, like going even deeper and being like a tour manager, or I
think so. We had some things go down in our crew, that obviously stays with the crew, but there were responsibilities that had to be picked up, and I did a few of the tour manager things, and I've always had an interest in tour managing, so. I think down the road, I could see myself doing it. I really would enjoy. I like being an ass every now and then. I think the tour manager is friends with everyone, but also has to be the guy that has to be the asshole every now and then. And that's definitely me. So I could see myself being a great tour manager. So
you've learned from the best.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I could see myself doing something down the road. I definitely would like to get out of the merch realm, just because it's a good starter spot for a lot of people that are trying to get out into the music industry and work on the road.
Yeah.
And so if you get those guys that have been doing merch for 15 years, that's just one more spot that's not open to anyone else. You got to train new people in to get them good at what they're doing. So
yeah. And you do it, man. Like when we were on tour and the Warped Tour, and you and Louis G, you guys were there every morning at 6, and that was after a night of like fucking drinking, and because you have to on the Warped Tour. I mean, it's
well, you don't have to. I learned
you don't have to.
Yeah,
he figured it out just recently.
It's not easy by any means, but yeah, it's no, it's and there again, it's like I said, passing the time. This year they pushed because of some of the bands like Guar and Anti-Flag that had CKY was out with us, so they've got a little bit older fan base. They extended the hours of Warped Tour so that would go later into the night. So they pushed doors. So luckily we didn't have to do the 6 a.m., load in time. It was 8 o'clock instead of 6. So we got to sleep in for a couple extra hours. But yeah, 8 a.m. you're off the bus and you're outside till 9 o'clock at night. So it definitely brings there's nothing better to do than just sit around and drink. So
that's a true statement.
I used to walk off the bus with 2 beers in hand, I think, at 6 o'clock in the morning. And
yep.
This year it was 2 coffees in hand. So.
Yeah, for me, there was a moment where I was on the bus, and we had a 9 o'clock. What was the earliest time that you get to play is what, 10 or 11?
The earliest was, I think, 11.
Okay.
Yeah, 10:30 gates and 11
But you don't
o'clock.
know your set time until that morning at 6 or 7?
Usually not even till 9.
9, okay, 9. Yeah. So we get the news at 9. I get up, and I'm slightly hungover from the night before, and I know I have to eat something because I'm about to go on stage in an hour and a half to just go and play in the blistering sun.
Yep.
And I also my pre-show ritual requires a couple shots of Crown.
I remember that pre-show ritual.
You know, it's very important to my state of mind on the stage. So I'm sitting here eating cereal, and right next to the bowl of cereal is a giant bottle of Crown. And I'm drinking the Crown as I'm eating the cereal to cut time.
Yeah.
And then I'm sitting there
multitasking,
and I'm looking at I'm just trying to look at myself and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, how did my life come down to this?
There are many moments where, yeah, even me in a Speedo, I look down and be like, how is this what I'm doing with my life and getting paid to do this? Like, like I'm hanging around 14 to 16-year-old kids just basically with a very small layer of...
Hey, that's a European style, okay? There's
true,
nothing
yeah.
sexual about that.
I'm just taking it back to Europe.
Yeah. You go to the beach, there's a couple guys wearing Speedos,
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I actually find the parents like the Speedo the best. There's some cute,
cute
moms that come around.
I was about to say, because Dad wants to bring back the Speedo.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day I used to look good in a Speedo.
Speedo Spence are ruining kids' lives everywhere. Dad's going home and digging it out of a cardboard box and moths.
Oh my gosh, man. Yeah, Warped Tour is a blast.
It is. It's definitely the hardest working, but also the hardest partying and like most fun summer. I mean, it's the best way you can spend a summer, I think.
Yeah. Especially if you have a bus. If you have a bus, that's a must. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
we lucked out, man, by Red Bull getting us a bus in our very first Warped Tour for the whole tour. I was like, and it was our bus. We didn't share it with anybody, and it was just like it was a fucking dream come true.
Yep.
And I feel for all the bands that just went and did it van. They just had a van or a broken down RV that the air conditioning didn't work. And
this year the big thing is bandwagons. Bandwagons are huge. I remember when we were out on Warped, there was probably 9-10 bands using bandwagons. This year it was half bandwagons and half buses. So the bandwagons, they've lowered the price on them so that they're like cheap for bands to use, but you get a shower, a bathroom on board, which is always nice.
Yeah.
So bandwagons are the route to go now, I guess.
Really?
But I still love a bus. I want a bus.
Yeah, I mean, the bandwagon doesn't have like the hydraulics like a bus does.
Exactly.
So you feel every single bump.
Yep.
It's basically just a giant trailer.
Exactly.
With air conditioning.
Yeah. Unless you are really great at sleeping, you're losing a lot of sleep in a bandwagon.
Oh man, I miss those days. Man.
If I could find a way to build a bed like our bunks, that's the best life to me, is sleeping in a bunk on a bus.
Yeah, those beds were really comfortable.
Yeah.
Surprisingly enough, I was really comfortable in those bunks.
I get my best sleep out on Warped Tour.
Do you have any crazy Warped Tour stories from this last Warped Tour that you can divulge to me without naming names?
I mean, I can name names. I thought it was cool. I got to meet Bam Margera and Phil and Ape. Like growing up watching Jackass, and they showed up because with Jess Margera being the drummer of CKY, they showed up in I think it was Camden, New Jersey. So it was like cool to like just be Bam rolled up in his Lamborghini that he has from all the TV shows and movies, and like they were just hanging out. So that was cool. There was one band that started a circle pit.
Which is, it's not allowed anymore, right? It's something like that?
Loosely, it's not allowed, but they would do it anyways, and they knocked over a chain link fence, and I watched I watched at first and then jumped in to help. 30 kids get trampled.
Oh my God!
Underneath a chain link fence. That was not a fun day.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, running in, grabbing little screaming girls, and I watched. I won't divulge into that. It gets a little violent, but it was pretty bad. But that was probably
when
the craziest
I said crazy,
day.
I meant crazy happy. Spencer, we don't have to go. Oh, by the way, all these kids died, and we can just bring down the vibe of the podcast right now.
I was happy when it ended. We'll put it that way. God bless. Circle pits destroying everything in my life.
Well, why would you have a wait? So I'm trying to picture it in my brain. So they did a circle pit, like
they did
right
it around the sound booth.
Okay.
And they didn't give our stage enough room for the bands to do that, and basically just the mass crowd. It was, like a balloon blowing up basically as the crowds pushed out. It pushed over all the tents, all the fencing. Wow. It was crazy. And there was no one for security there either. So it was just like a bunch of us little merch people having to handle the situation.
Jesus. That's nuts.
Yeah, it was chaotic.
Man, when it rained though, like it was scary to be under those tents because those tents are metal.
Yeah.
And so whenever there was thunder or lightning spotted, basically the whole tour would have to shut down.
Yeah. We luckily didn't have too many. We had a couple bad rainstorms, but it wasn't that bad. We had one, our guitarist that played for Watsky, he played for another guy, Andy Black of Black Veil Brides, and God bless them. We had a storm in Orlando where every time they would come out and get clearance to play, they would get probably 12 bars into the song and a bolt of lightning would hit and they would have to end and leave. They came out on stage probably 4 or 5 times.
Oh my God.
And then they never got to play. They never got to finish their set. So literally they started the same song 4 or 5 times and that was that. Like, yay, Andy Black.
Wow.
Yeah. But we had one day where it poured rain for 4 hours in Buffalo, where the amusement park is. I don't know if you remember that, the roller coasters and everything.
Yes, I do vaguely remember that.
Yeah. But otherwise, it was a beautiful summer. I mean, we had our hot days, but it was really good weather overall. I can't complain too much. You
gonna do another one?
If the dollar signs are right, that's it takes such a wear and tear, like on your brain, your body, your relationships. It's got to be worth it. But I do love Warped Tour. I would love to do it again. I just got to have the money for it. That's the big one. So
yeah, it's a lot of work, man.
It is, yeah. But it's very the satisfaction of the work you put into it is worth it. Seeing a city like that built every morning and then torn down at night and moving on to the next city and knowing you had a hand in how all of that worked was it's just gratifying. Yeah,
I really hope that the Warped Tour continues to grow, and like it makes me kind of sad hearing that the numbers are kind of dropping in recent years. And
yeah, I think it's it's the new millennials. It's cool. They have more money to spend. I feel like I remember even in, growing up, I didn't have a credit card. And then in 2013, when we were out on Warp together, I remember doing merch and hardly anyone had a credit card. That's all these kids have nowadays is debit and credit cards.
Well, they have it on their phone now.
Yeah. So they have all this money they can spend, but they don't want to spend it on going to, I think they're missing out on the atmosphere of concerts now. Everyone's got a phone in the air. They can do it via Snapchat. They can see, oh, I see that Shane's over at this show. I don't even need to go when he's just going to send me 10 videos of it. So it's kind of a bummer, but, it's still Warped Tour. It's still nostalgic, I think, for a lot of people. Hawthorne Heights playing every day.
Yeah.
Hearing Ohio is for Lovers. I mean, that's the reason I would go to Warped Tour, just to hear that. So
yeah. I mean, Warped Tour is just, I don't know, it was designed for young people's like rebellious side, listening to all the bands that mainly, back in the day when Warped Tour first started, was punk bands, you know, against the system kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important, especially in today's world, you know, where, you know, the political atmosphere is very, you know, divided, and, you know, there are certain things that people would, you know, want to fight against.
Yeah.
And I think music really helps the, I don't know if like quells the anger, because it kind of like it kind of, you know, spurs it on a little bit when you listen to, you know, fucking Anti-Flag and you know, fucking all these punk bands. But I think when I was growing up, like, I mean, I grew up like a fucking king. I had great parents, but I still listened to that angry music, angry metal music, because I had some anger in me based on being like bullied and stuff like that. So that music really helped me like understand those emotions. Yeah,
that was me with like Blink-182, Green Day. Growing up on that, I was like, yeah, I grew up in a great family. I had, you know, a roof over my head, but there was still that teenage angst that still came out, like the little things, like you said, bullying or feeling left out. You know, I didn't get picked in fucking dodgeball.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go listen to this song and like that'll cure me. But it's you know, the cool thing about why I love and support Warped Tour so much is there are people that get on a microphone on stage and maybe don't always have the best message, but for the most part, everyone's out there using their time on stage to have a good time, you know, play their music, but also send a message, you know, to these young people who all they get is their news from Facebook and Wikipedia, which isn't always true, you know.
No,
so,
I mean, half of it isn't definitely not true.
Exactly, you know. So when they can, you know, even Watsky, for instance, when Chester passed away, Watsky was in the studio with him 2 days prior to that happening.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, and literally the news was released and Watsky was going on stage 15 minutes later. So he was the one that came out and announced to everyone that was in the area about that news, and it was like super powerful and obviously very, very sad. But you know, we have the news outlet, you know, we are the news outlet for some of those kids. So there was people sticking up for the transgender community. You've got people doing political stuff, religious things. So there's always a voice to be heard. So
yeah. What was were you? I think you were there after this had happened, but I heard something. It became like rock news on Facebook. You know about the
war
Dickies.
On women and the
what's all that? Because I didn't read too much into it, but something to the effect of like there was a protest, one of the bands, and then the band member like. I'm broad stroking here from my horrible memory, so I apologize if I'm.
It happened the day before I got on tour. You know, it's hearsay to me as well. Mm-hmm. But basically, War on Women, awesome, like grunge punk rock band. Everything they stood up for, women's rights. You know, like I said, they were one of the ones with the transgender community, gays, straight, lesbian. They were representing it all, and they had this great message on stage. Someone from a non-sponsor that I won't name took it upon themselves to make a statement at the Dickies show while they were working, which is super uncalled for. You know, even if, I mean, there were bands I hated out on Warped Tour. I'm not going to go to their set and trash them while they're doing their thing. That's just out of respect. And so that's basically what it came down to, is someone from an organization went and tried to get their message across. It didn't go well. The Dickies basically verbalized their point of view from stage, and it looked, the way it was twisted, it looked like the Dickies were kind of the assholes. I wasn't there, so I have no clue.
From what I was reading, a lot of people were sticking up for the Dickies because, and I don't listen to the Dickies, I don't really know what their message is.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you either.
But from what I understand is that they're a basic punk band, you know, that scream obscenities and, you know, do the basic punk band shit where they, you know, they push the envelope, you know, like of offensive things. And I think that's what punk music stands for, and you don't have to like it.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, don't listen. Go somewhere else,
exactly,
kind of thing. And that's their point of view. So yeah, I heard about that and I was like, what the fuck is going on in the Warped Tour right now? And I'm sitting here thinking, God, I hope this is not a thing where, you know, these new young kids are trying to stand up for something, because when you're young, you want to stand up for something.
Yeah.
You know, there's just something, again, that angsty, rebellious nature that we all have as teenagers. We want to change the world somehow. And I think that sometimes when you have that emotional stance, you kind of glaze over like stuff like free speech. And, you know, it's like, you know, I don't want them to say that, so they should stop saying it. Well, it's like, well, no, we live in America, and they have a right to say certain things, as long as it's not, you know, let's go kill this person, or, you know, let's kill all the Jews, and, you know, like stuff like that. Like that's uncalled for. But everything else, like they can say fuck, they can say shit, they can say cunt, they can say all these terrible things that might not feel very good in your ears, because you're like, ooh, no. But that, unfortunately, you know, I mean, like, look, that's the way, I think, like, that's the world we live in, and you got to be able to deal with people that have different viewpoints as your own. Yep.
100%. It was just a crazy situation. And, you know, Kevin Lyman, God bless that man. Kevin Lyman, who runs Warped Tour and it oversees everything. I shake his hand anytime I see him, because some of the shit he has to deal with, he does it all himself. It's all on his plate, and he'll walk around calm, cool, and collected. But he got to handle all that one and all the press that came with it. And it was,
dude. He will kick a band off if they're not. No questions. He doesn't care how big you are, but if you fuck around, he will be like, "Nuh-uh, not on my tour."
Kevin Lyman will check your ego so quickly, and for as calm and cool as the dude is, just staring at him, you feel like, I feel like I'm in trouble anytime I see him, in a good way.
He has like that, like, intimidating, but not in a bad way, but like, you know, this presence about him. Like, he's like, it's because of him this exists, you know?
Like San Francisco, they came around to all the merch tents and hung no smoking signs. And I am a just chain smoker. And especially when you're outside for 12 hours a day, I'm going to smoke at my merch tent. So immediately I, like, you know, rebelliously took a photo of me next to the no smoking sign, smoking. And like 3 hours into the day, I've been chain smoking, and Kevin Lyman came by, and my immediate reaction was to throw the cigarette to the ground and like stomp it out and hide all my cigarette butts. And I was
it's like the school principal walking the halls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. like I'm going to skip class. Oh, hello, Mr. Johnson. Just going to the bathroom, you know. It's that immediate just, dad's here, you know. But he's such a cool dude. In that same realm, he makes the point to go around the last day of tour, or, you know, the last weekend of tour, and shake the hand of every person that's on the road with us. Yeah. Which I think just speaks a lot for, you know, why Warped Tour is the longest running tour out there. But
I mean, God bless that man, because Warped Tour is a fucking blast. If you don't fuck around, don't be an idiot.
Oh yeah, we've all seen the repercussions of some of those moments from other bands.
I've seen some bands.
No naming names.
No naming names, but like, don't do that.
Yeah. I was just hanging out with two of them, two different guys from bands last night that we were talking about that. You know, one was underage drinking and got busted, and another one, I think they emptied their porta tank into the parking lot, and nothing smells better than.
Oh man, I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember that.
I was hanging out.
It's the worst smell in the world.
I was hanging out with one of those guys last night at the bar, and we were talking about that.
And it sticks around.
It does. You're remembered forever. Yeah. The smell sticks around too forever.
Were you with us like when we stayed in like for like later than usual? And because bus call was, I think our bus was late or something. I forget what it was, but we were late. We stayed later than usual for some reason, and that was the time where they were like turning over the porta potties, or a porta potty like broke. Like fell over as they were transporting them, and like
Phoenix, Arizona, I will never forget it.
Oh yeah, and it was super hot, and
me and Nate were walking back from MC Lars' bus, and those porta potties, they came by on the truck and had like fallen over, and I remember just puking my guts out, like the worst smell ever.
No matter how far we were away from it,
Yeah.
it seemed it was following us.
Yeah. The next morning we woke up in a new city and it was like still there.
It's like, I still smell it. I still smell it. It's the worst.
I remember coming back to the bus and Richie, our TM at the time, going, "How drunk are you guys? You guys are like puking. Your eyes are watering. What is wrong with you guys?" And we're like, "No, it's nothing to do with alcohol. We just watched a bunch of porta potties get tipped over."
God, thank God for the modern plumbing system.
Yeah.
Because could you imagine if we had to deal with that, like,
oh my God,
medieval times where you just had a trough in the middle of the street?
Yeah.
Just...
Yeah, I'm good. Just get me a time machine and get me out of there real quick.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, we did get to watch one poor soul. My first night of tour was in a porta potty and they came to pick it up while he was inside of it. And it was like 9:30 at night, whatever. And the forklift picked it up and he tried to open the door to let him know he was stuck inside, and the porta potty tipped right over. I mean, it was straight out of a movie, but the poor kid was inside the porta john that had been full all day long.
Oh my God. Was he locked in? Or did he just like had no time to react?
He had no time to react. By the time it started to lift him up, I'm sure, the old...
That's one of my worst fears.
Yeah, it is. You don't realize it, and especially when you see it in person, how horrific it is, but you can't really help. You're like, oh, like if I see a car accident, doesn't matter how much blood there is, I'm going to run in there and help someone. When someone's covered in that much shit, you're like, you got this, man.
Yeah, sorry, dude.
Moral support from the sidelines.
My 409's on the bus, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd come Windex.
I'll find you some paper towels or something.
Oh God, it's terrible.
Yeah, it was. Man. I felt very, very.
But those are the things that you need to future people. If you're going to be on Warped Tour next year, if you're signed on, and you've never done Warped Tour. Do you have any pieces of advice for young bands who are about to go on Warped Tour for the first time? My first piece of advice is, number one, I think is your first piece of advice, is get up early, find a porta potty, or go to the bathrooms. If they have bathrooms on site, go to that one as soon as you possibly can. Do that ASAP. Don't drink too much. There's plenty of days on Warped Tour to drink. There's so many people that I think treat it like it's it looks like a bachelorette party every night on Warped Tour, where everyone's like, I got to drink as much as I can in the shortest amount of time, and you just watch people feel like garbage the next day, or it. So just take it for what it is. Yeah, be smart about your alcohol.
Summer on Warped Tour, like enjoy it, party it up, but take it in stride.
Yeah, understand the workings of your body and alcohol. If you have to eat something before you go to bed to soak up all the alcohol that you drank, do that. I think the big thing, and you remember this, is you're stuck with the same people for 2 months straight. There's no like, oh, I'm just going to leave for 24 hours. I mean, you can do that on a day off, but you're stuck with the same people. So whether it's alcohol, drugs, girlfriends, just band drama, you have to know how to juggle all of that, and pick your battles with Warped Tour and life, because it's not easy out there, but it's fun if you make it count. There is a saying: if you can handle Warped Tour with your band, you can handle any tour.
And I've seen bands break up over Warped Tour before. I saw one this year. They came walking by me, and I was like, "Hey, how you guys doing?" And they were like, "Well, we're not a band anymore. We're just out here with a organization." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, saw you guys on the bill. Didn't know you guys. That's why you're here. You're just here to work now because your band broke up. So it'll make or break you." But and just taking it all in, it's such an experience. It like no other. There's no other thing on planet Earth I can think of that is so, like I said before, gratifying.
Yeah.
Knowing that you've hustled all day, you make a bunch of money, you get to party, meet all these cool people.
It's a great fucking thing.
Yeah.
Especially if you're getting paid for it, and you're able to manage the day in, day out of that crazy tour.
Yeah.
Drink a lot of water. That's very important. I know when we went on the tour Well, we had a couple of dehydration issues for some kids, and a couple kids had to go to the hospital because was that the Vegas one?
Yeah, Vegas. Yeah, because I drank 2 cases of water by myself that day, 126 degrees. I'll never forget that.
It was the hottest day on record, by the way.
Yeah, that's why
Of course, that was the day because, I'm from Vegas and all my family was there. And even my family couldn't stay to see our entire set because it was so fucking hot.
Yeah, I think the hottest days this year were when we were in Texas, it was real bad. I was right next to a medic tent, and no joke, I went and shook the hands of the guys afterwards. I saw one dude himself pushing a wheelchair at least 40 times by me in 4 hours. Just with kids in them. And yeah, it's the water intake is no joke. It's you have to stay hydrated out there. No one's too cool for water.
Yeah, it's like no one's too cool for water, bro.
You hate that you have to remind 35-year-old or 30 whatever, 30-year-old people like drink water, like the beer's good, but drink water. And like people are like, nah, I'm I've got all these muscles and tattoos, and I play this metal music. I don't need water. And then when they're in a wheelchair an hour and a half later, you're like, yeah, suck on that. Like,
yeah.
Even the musicians are, not too cool for water.
You can't beat biology, bro.
Yeah.
Biology will always win.
Yeah.
Know your limits.
I got accused this tour of drinking too much water, and I laughed. I was like, yeah.
Hey, it's possible. People have died for drinking too much water.
Not on Warped Tour. They
definitely not on Warped Tour. That is not a thing that happened.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Just the hustle. Like I said, take it all in. The hustle of Warped Tour is
take pictures, but you're right. But like, don't forget to like just be there.
Yeah.
And just take it all in and get the memories.
Yeah. I know for us, I had. They do the Warped Tour superlatives every year of who wins, best this, worst that. And I got worst sunburn. I'm proud of that. Worst sunburn of tour.
You got the worst sunburn?
Yep. But we also won the best pod squad, or best clique, which we called ourselves a pod squad. But there was 8 of us that we were all merch people. If you saw one of us, the other 7 were somewhere in the area. Kind of like when we were the Spotify stage.
Yeah.
We all just would show up in this clique. But taking in those friendships too, it's now I've got a new group of people that are in Ohio, California, one's here, but having those relationships and just knowing, I made the best of it for 2 months, and now I can go anywhere in the country and see my friends.
That's an understatement, man. Like just from that Spotify stage, and just the guys from Wallpaper, and the guy like Big Chocolate, and just like you're meeting all these people from different walks of life, but also following the same dreams as you. It's just like it's basically camp, for bands.
Yeah, it's summer camp for bands, and you just never know. I mean, Patrick, who was out with Mac Lethal.
Yep,
Patrick was in town 3-4 months ago, and I get this random text from Patrick. It's like, let's kick it. Hadn't seen him in 2-3 years, and you just never know how you can help someone out either.
I tried to get him on the podcast, but he couldn't do it because he was here for too little. He'll be here next time, or maybe I'll be in St. Louis and we'll do one there. But yeah, I love that dude.
Yeah,
I love that dude because he was the only guy how I know Patrick, and Patrick, like you said, was with Mac Lethal. I don't know if he's still with them anymore. I don't know. I don't think so. But anyway,
he's doing his own thing now. Yeah,
I think he's doing he is doing his own thing. He has his own band, and they're badass. Fucking when I first met Patrick, I saw him by his merch table for Mac Lethal, and I saw him, and he was wearing a Final Fantasy concert shirt.
That's right. We were in Seattle. I remember seeing how excited you were.
Oh, I was so excited because I didn't. When you first start that tour and you've never done that tour before, it's really intimidating.
It is.
Because all you're surrounded by are just rock guys with tats, and just all wearing all black, and just cool fucking hair and like
Yeah.
these really intimidating personalities if you don't get to know them, and then I see Patrick wearing a Final Fantasy t-shirt and I'm like, this is the dude.
Yeah.
This is the guy I'm going to be. He's my new best friend now. And then we just started talking. And then from then on, we became like best friends the
Yeah.
whole tour. And we just nerded out because he like, oh my God, a guy who loves Final Fantasy just as much as I do is on the same fucking tour. This is awesome.
Yeah. No, like you said, I think that's the best way of putting Warped Tour. The day one, it's just like summer camp. It's intimidating. And there's always someone that's better no matter what you're doing, whether it's merch, you're playing drums. There's always someone who's better than you, and there's always someone that's worse than you. But the cool thing about that is you can always learn from someone, and you can always teach someone something.
Yeah.
And it's, but yeah, that first day of I remember because I jumped on a week and a half into tour, so everyone's already got their little friendships, and me going, oh no, I'm just like the new kid in school. Who do I know? And but yeah, you got to find those, and they're the ones who like keep you sane on tour too.
Yeah. Because
when you get sick of everyone else in your crew, if you don't have those outside friends,
the new
insane.
kids.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Man, I'm just happy that, man, you just did the Warped Tour, and I'm just happy to see you happy.
Yeah.
When you do that stuff, because again, like I said before, it's like that job makes, the best, I don't know, makes better men worse men, because that job is so fucking hard to do.
Yeah. I'm so happy I did it. It was a big toss up, was I going to take it? Was I not? And I feel like I would really be living in regret had I passed it up. So it's overwhelmingly, satisfying. So I'll do it again. I know I will.
Someone will call you with an even better offer, and you're like, "Fuck, all right, I'll do it."
Put it out there.
I'm down. I mean, you're in it, man. You're in the circle. You've made so many friends. You're like, I had a buddy on this last podcast. His name is Mikey. I think you met Mikey.
Yeah, I met Mikey. Yeah.
And just everybody loves that dude. And you're the same way. Like, everybody who meets you is just like, I fucking love Spencer. Like, I want him to be around more, because you just exhibit this energy of like good times and smiles.
You have to, you know? You're only on planet Earth for a short time.
So,
that sounds so fucking hippie to do that, but it's true though. It's
fucking true.
You got to make every moment count, and just even when it sucks. I mean, I'm the pissiest guy you'll ever meet, but you still got to put a smile on and have a good time.
I mean, and you just take those jobs in stride. Like when I asked you, I was like, hey, you want to be my drum tech? And you're like, fuck yeah, I want to be your drum tech. And you just fucking did it. And you did such a great job. Like, you just went and killed it, man. Like,
I will say Five Knives Warped Tour was still the best Warped Tour for me. I still, that's the one, the first time, like you guys were like the first girl I ever had. You'll always stick with me.
Will never be erased from your memory.
No matter how hard I try.
There are things that happened on that tour. Didn't your clothes got stolen one night? Remember that?
Oh, you best believe if you see me on Warped Tour
now. Oh, you were
now,
so pissed.
Yeah, my whole suitcase got stolen. Yeah, that was, I like locking, I make sure like my suitcase is buried to the back of everyone else's, so if someone comes to steal another suitcase, they take someone else's.
That's another piece of advice for you new bands. It's like, keep track of your shit.
Yeah, kids will steal anything. Other bands will steal anything.
Don't trust everybody.
Yeah.
Trust your few select friends, but still.
Booze or clothes, it will get stolen if you're not careful.
Keep a lockbox with you.
What else happened that summer? Yeah, my clothes got stolen. This year I almost went blind.
How did you almost get blind?
I woke up. Here's a piece of advice. Take care of yourself while you're out on Warped Tour. I wasn't taking my contacts out. Got dirt under my contact. Long story short, had an ulcer on my eye. I was 24 hours away from going blind.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so take care of yourself.
Yeah, and your lenses.
Yeah.
Or maybe invest in some glasses.
Yeah, that's more on me, really. I think the average probably contact wearer knows how to take care of their eyes. I'm almost 30, but I still act like a 9-year-old. So
what's the plan now after this year at Warped Tour? You're back in town.
Back in town.
No tours scheduled for the next
Nothing
little bit.
scheduled. I've got a couple things that I've been offered.
You did a thing for the Deads, didn't you?
Yeah, I did a week-long cruise ship tour with them, the motorboat.
Did you and Isaiah cross paths, or did he help them out after you? I can't remember. Isaiah,
I believe, helped them out after me. I believe. Before or after. I think after, though. But yeah, I just did like the 1 week because they couldn't pay anyone. The cruise was like, that was the paycheck, which is an awesome paycheck.
Right.
Like, cool, I get to go work for 3 hours a day and then hang out on a boat in the middle of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
I'll take that paycheck any day. Hell yeah. But yeah, just going to bartend. I work up at Mercy Lounge still, and we got a lot of great bands coming through, so I'm going to do that, and then hopefully by the start of the new year, I'm going to start touring again. So
was that your idea to do the throwback shows? Like, because it seems like kind of your idea. Like, let's do like themed shows.
Joe Copeland or Joko, he does those. That is all in his wheelhouse. But we have definitely sat around and drunkenly talked about what would be the throwback versus shows where it's like Blink-182 versus Green Day. Oh, well, we could do Green Day, the Green album versus the Blue album. So there's definitely like, I think I've had a hand in it. I'm not going to take credit for it, but I want to. But Joko he's the master of those. Every time I see him, I'm like, what's the next one? Like, give it to me, and I see him 9 times a week, but it's still, I'm always excited for what he has up his sleeve next. So, yeah, I wish I could take credit for those. I really do. I really do. Those are the greatest ideas ever.
Oh man, fucking.
Yeah, we got.
I don't know what else. What else do you want to talk about? I think we've pretty much covered Warped Tour, unless there's other things that I'm missing.
I don't think so. No, there's nothing else really about Warped Tour. I got emo night coming around the corner.
Yeah,
I'm gonna start trying to be back a part of that. Trying not to fall from any rafters, kill myself. Those are always good life goals.
That's a good goal to have.
Yeah, I'm pretty uneventful now. Now that Warped Tour is over, my life it is work every day and party all night. Good times.
Yeah,
but nothing else as far as Warped Tour goes.
So you're still living with Cass, though, right?
What's that?
You still living with Cass?
No, I'm actually. I moved in with Taylor Dawson runs Freak Me. Taylor Dawson is a DJ around town, but I live with him. Just moved in with him. I actually only had a day to move my house when I got signed on for Warped Tour. I was like, yeah, I'll take it, and then realized I was supposed to move out while I was on Warped Tour. So I had 4 hours to pack a U-Haul van.
Oh my God.
And just make trips back and forth. So the best and worst part of Warped Tour is when like the last day and you're like, I get to go home and like poop on my own toilet. I get to sleep in my own bed. I get to cuddle my own dog. I didn't get to feel any of that because I had to immediately like walked in through my front door and was like, oh, I'm so ready to relax. Oh God, I still have to set up a whole house. So the last week has literally just been me buying furniture and spending money. And, but yeah, we're still over in East Nashville and it's a dope little spot, but living with Taylor Dawson.
It's fucking East Nashville. Whereabouts in East Nashville?
It's,
you don't have to give me your address,
yeah,
but just
Heartland and Dickerson, kind of by the DMV.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
right over there. It's like close to Ellington, kind of can still get to downtown real nice and quick, but back far enough in East Nashville too that I'm not dealing with all the shitty East Nashville people.
Yeah.
The ones who just moved here.
Yeah.
Too cool for school.
Bought the $250,000 one-room apartment.
Yeah.
Dude, fucking Nashville. I mean, I've talked about it a little bit, but it's fucking crazy out here.
It's super crazy. I mean, even, being out on Warped or just going out anywhere and saying I'm from Nashville, everyone is talking about this city. And like, I had, I'm trying to think like big name people out on Warped coming out like, oh, heard you're from Nashville. Like, where should I move? What's, I'm looking at going there. And just like everyone wants to be in this city right now. And it's so weird that I'm like, I've been here for 9 years. I don't know. I've seen it change, but like, it's just Nashville to me. But the fact that it's on the map now as like a huge growing city is crazy to me.
I never saw it coming. I know some people did. And some people were lucky enough to like buy out houses and then sell them and flip them. But man, I never knew, like, because when I first moved here, you didn't go to East Nashville. That was a place you didn't go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know the last house I just moved out of, if I would have been in that neighborhood 2 years ago, I would not have ever left that neighborhood. And not in a good way. I would have been in a body bag. It was not a safe neighborhood. And now 2 years later, it's gentrified as, can be. And East Nashville is crazy in itself. North Nashville. I mean, hell, driving over here in South Nashville today, I was,
it's kind of crazy.
I grew up in this neighborhood 9 years ago.
Oh, did you really?
My first house was over in this, or my first apartment was in this neighborhood.
No shit. I didn't know that.
So it's like driving by all of it, I'm like, oh, this is all changed.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Like Nolensville, it's kind of basically the same, but like when you go into when you turn left in like a neighborhood, you can see like brand new houses being built.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy shit, really? What's going on right now?
Luckily, all the new people are moving to the Gulch, and I hate the Gulch, so you guys can just keep moving to the Gulch.
Yeah, you guys can keep the Gulch.
You have them angel wings all day long.
Dude, I was in the Gulch not too long ago at a movie premiere that me and Kyle did the score for, and movie premiere. It's an indie movie, but good job. It was great.
No,
it was a lot of fun.
I've been following you, on social media with all of it. So
whatever. I'm super proud of it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Anyway, I haven't been to the Gulch in like 2 years. It's been a while, and so I just drive in the Gulch, and I'm like, holy shit. This is like fucking New York.
Yeah.
Like, this is fucking crazy. And then it's like it's like a rooftop party kind of thing that we went to. It was like, yeah. And so I walked in the hotel. I forget which hotel it is.
Is it the, wouldn't have been the West End.
It's not the West End. It's,
Hotel, L.A. Jackson.
No. It wasn't that one. It was like 10.
Well, I'm out of.
I forget. It's a new hotel. Whatever. It's a very fancy hotel. And then so there's like they have a maitre d' at the door, and he like opens the door for me, and he's like, "This way, and I'm like, "What the fuck? Where am I?"
Yeah, I just want to have a cigarette and a PBR. Is that cool? Just
yeah, like we don't have PBRs here. We have.
Let me see if we have that in the wine cabinet in the back.
Oh yeah, they don't even know what PBR is. Yeah. They're so above it.
Yeah.
Is that a new French wine?
What vineyard is that? I don't know, Milwaukee. Oh, I'm not sure what part of Spain that is.
It's fucking changing, man. It's fucking crazy, and I don't know how to feel about it. I really don't, because I don't want it to become an LA or a New York.
Yeah. It's weird. Like, I love it. I love the growth, especially me as a bartender and then doing the music side of things. Like, Nashville is a hub now. Like, I remember 4 or 5 years ago, if you got hired for a tour, flying out of here was a pain in the ass.
Oh, yeah.
You would have to do, 2 layovers just to get to LA and now we're like a central hub, and that's why everyone wants to be here if you're in the music industry. But like bartending, I love it too. More people, more money. But as far as living here, it's kind of a pain. I was in a bar in East Nashville last night, and like 3 dudes in suits come walking in, and I was in Edgefield. I don't know why I'm like trying to cover up the name. I was in Edgefield, which is where my roommate works. Smokiest like dive bar.
Yeah, it's the best. I fucking love that bar.
And these 3 dudes come in like they're about to buy a nice bottle of a French wine, and it's like, get the fuck out of my bar. I want to flick a cigarette at you right now. Like, let me watch baseball and not have to look at you.
Yeah, I love that bar. I love like fucking like the bars that like refuse to change. You're like, no, fuck you. This is our shit. Like, this is our bar, and we're smoking in here. And if you don't like it, get the fuck out.
Yeah. I remember being at 3 Crow last year, and came in for a football game, which is like that is my home on Sundays. I live at Three Crow. They probably hate me there, but they let me stay because I probably pay so much money. It's like paying rent there. But literally there was a bachelorette party. It was like a beautiful day in December, a bachelorette party having Sunday fun day at our table that we always sit at. And they're having their bushwhackers, and like servers were like, yo, you guys got to fucking go. These are our regulars. Like, I get that you guys are just in town for the weekend, but we don't need to cater to your needs. Like, finish them up and get the hell out of here. Like, this is for the boys.
And
they didn't want to move, so I decided I was going to watch the game with them, and I just started screaming, and minutes later, they were gone for some reason. I'm not sure why. I guess I got my point across. But yeah, it's so weird. I mean, like I said, the Gulch, it's like, we got all these stupid murals around town that everyone wants to take pictures with. That's super cool. I mean, there's stuff in, I'm sure, LA's got the stars on the sidewalk that people take pictures with.
Portland has the same. We fell victim to that because we were tourists and we've never been to Portland, and they have murals and we took pictures, and I'm sorry, Portland, but we were tourists. Okay. Yeah. It's expected.
I mean, and by all means, you should do that. Like, do the touristy things. Anytime friends come in town, like, we'll go down to Broadway. I'll do Broadway for a night just to let you live the experience.
We'll show you how terrible Broadway is. And then after that, we'll go to the cool bars that I go to.
But it's that element of like, be a tourist, but also be cool in the city. Like, people are doing these murals in the Gulch and taking pictures with them. The flipping angel wings one. Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen that one.
It's this big set of angel wings on a black wall, right down at, I think it's like Velocity condos, whatever. And there's literally a line. Anytime you go by it, there's a line to take a picture with the mural. But the line will come out into the street, and people act like it's the car's fault that they're not stopping.
Oh,
like, literally, we got yelled at last night by some people waiting in line to take a picture for us to slow the fuck down. And was like, "You're the dumbass." Sorry for all my language. I never asked you if I could just sit here.
Oh, dude, it's called explicit material.
This is true. Yeah. I was like, "You're the dumbass sitting in the road to take a picture with a set of angel." You can go Photoshop that for all I care. I can do that in 5 minutes on my phone. But you're sitting in the middle of a street for this photo. Like, don't yell at me.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of my city.
Well, all it takes is one little shove with a car, and that'll fucking change your mind real quick.
Yeah. Next time. I'm coming for you.
Get out of the fucking road, man.
So, yeah, I mean, I like the growth, but some of it's just a little like, people are coming to Nashville thinking they can just run this town. And it's like, no. We've all been here a while. We're going to do things our way. You can, get a toe in the water and feel it out. But when you come, just splashing in, that doesn't do well.
Well, Keith, did you ever meet Keith? Keith Lancaster? He was a groomsman at my wedding. I don't think you met him, but he was on the podcast, and he's from Portland. And when he got into town and moved, he didn't tell people that he was from LA, because apparently he was told by a friend of his, like, don't tell people you're from LA. People in Portland do not like people from LA or California. And it got so bad because, Portland was, like what it's going on with Nashville right now. Portland was getting this influx of people, like from people in New York and most people from LA. And, I think we all can agree the general consensus is that people from LA are kind of, I do things this way.
It's the consensus that if you go to LA and you go, I'm a musician from Nashville, they go, oh, so what country singer do you play for? Every city has that. But LA is
kind of stuck up. And if you're from LA, this probably doesn't apply to you, because I'm just.
I know a lot of badass people from LA that are not like this, but it only takes one.
It only takes one. It's like fucking LA. I knew it. I knew you people around here.
Yeah.
But it got so bad that when realtors would put signs in front of like for sale, for houses that were for sale, people would, drive up to it, get out of the car, and put like stickers on it that says "No California." And they would put those same stickers on people's like trucks and cars on the bumpers.
Good on them,
because they saw the California license plate, and it became like this kind of like quiet Cold War between like Portland and LA.
needs to happen here.
And I'm telling you, it might, because it's inconveniencing people who have lived here for a very long time. And I mean, like, me and my wife were kind of victim to it. But, we lived in Franklin, and we had an awesome deal on this condo because we knew the landlord who he was going to sell it and rent it. And we knew him, and he said, hey, well, I'll give you a deal. You come out here. And we lived there for a while. But, he eventually had to raise the prices of rent, and the rent got so bad. And like, I asked him, like, how much would you have charged if you didn't know us? It's like, because we were paying like $1,200, which isn't bad. It was a really big condo, 2-bedroom, one half bath. And like, it got so bad. We were like, well, it's cheaper to fucking buy. We'll have to save up our money somehow, and we'll have to buy. And I feel for all the people who have lived in Nashville for 5-6 years in this cool apartment complex, with the rent would go up every now and then,
like
but
then
$50,
$100 a month.
That's expected. But then one year it's like, sorry, we have to raise your rent $200 a month now. And now you're like, fuck, I have, where am I going to go?
I was living in a house a few years ago that a good friend of mine was like lease to own contract. I think he was in like the lease to own part for like, they got it for like $220,000. Dope. It was badass house on the golf course. Mm-hmm. They decided not to buy it. They looked at what they were going to sell it for after we had all moved out, and it jumped up like $150,000 in a year.
Damn.
It was like, what the hell? And just literally over a year's time, everyone's buying stuff for Airbnb now.
Yeah.
Like there's literally the Airbnb district of East Nashville. When I'm bartending and people go, oh yeah, we're here on, we got an Airbnb in East Nashville. I'm like, cool. So you're in between 16th and Woodland and 14th. I'm like, how'd you know that? I'm like, because there's 30 houses on those 2 blocks that are literally.
There's a little bit of pushback on the Airbnb lately, according to like, I don't know if there was a law that got put into place. I'm not really, it's kind of fuzzy to me because I haven't really looked into it. But from what I heard like there's a law in place saying that you're not allowed to have an Airbnb technically in Nashville.
There's a bunch of weird stuff. I've heard several different things. I have lots of friends that do Airbnbs.
I do too.
But I've heard several different things that they're cracking down on them.
But I think something like that wouldn't last anyway, because at the end of the day, people are making their own business. Yeah. And you can't really fault them for doing that. If people have a problem with it, like if hotels have a problem with it, lower your prices. You shouldn't have, that's capitalism, man. We all agree that capitalism is pretty much the way to go.
It goes back to Uber and Lyft versus the cabbies. Like, cool. Like, they're way cheaper. You can't get mad at someone for doing a better job and finding a way to do it cheaper and make more profit off of it.
And the way they utilize social media with it too. Like cabbies never got on that train. Like there was not one cab service that I can think of that was able to like link to your Facebook or do it in a cool way where you're not scared to get into this cab because you don't know where this person, like who this person is.
Speaking of cabs, not to go off topic, but to go back to Warped Tour, were you in the cab with me and Zizzy in Philadelphia when the dude tried to like drop us off?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait. I don't think I think we.
No, you were in a cab with Patrick.
We were in a cab. Yeah, I was in a cab with Patrick because I had taken a Uber before you guys, and then we were waiting on you guys.
Yeah, it was me and Zizzy and someone else, and I remember him trying to drop us off in the like legit scary projects of Philadelphia, and we ended up like having to run from the dude. I still think of that. Sorry. Anytime I think of cabs and I tell like cabbie horror story number 1, it was being locked into a cab and getting dropped off or trying to get dropped off in a just terrible part of town and us having to run from the cabbie and not paying him anything.
Yeah. I never have a bad problem with like Uber or Lyft. Like I haven't yet to this day. Well, I did kind of when I was in Seattle for vacation. There was like one guy that was kind of like short with me. Yeah. Which wasn't very fun. I was like, oh, this is just a cab ride.
Yeah.
But it was one of those share cab situations or the share ride situations. And, actually, what? I got to tell you, Seattle, you got a thing going. And I don't know what it is, but me and my wife tried to figure out the vibe of Seattle. Again, we were only there for two days.
Yeah,
but
I've never. That's one of the cities I've been to, but never gotten to like spend time in enough to
we went
make
to
a call on it.
We went to a couple bars, and just the overall vibe was kind of weird. Number one, there's a lot of homeless people in the downtown Seattle area. I mean, a lot, and a lot of vocal homeless people, like almost to the point of like harassment.
Yep.
We got like at least 3 times just walking to like a couple bars in downtown Seattle. I had one guy come up to me trying to sell me a bottle of wine. I'm like, dude, I'm going to a bar.
At least he knows how he's making a profit. You can't knock the dude for trying.
I mean, okay, I can't knock him for trying. I mean, it's a rather smart business venture now that I think about it. But still, like,
it was probably stolen from the bar you were going to. So.
Yeah, probably. I don't know what was going on with him, but and then we were at one of the bars that I forget what bar it was, but it was a bar that Nirvana used to play at, and it was like famous for it. And I forget the bar. Names just escape me.
Yeah.
But how it is like, it's kind of like you're inside the bar, and outside, like, there's no wall, and you just see the street.
Okay.
So it's not like an enclosed, like you're in the bar and then you just see people walking in the street, you know. It's kind of like the outside patio sort of.
Gotcha.
You know. And you know, we got passed by at least 2 different people that were obviously on drugs of some sort and just trying to carry on a conversation. I'm like, I'm sitting here with my wife, just like trying to drink and have a somewhat, you know, moment with my wife. Please, just like leave me alone right now, man.
Who doesn't love the smell of dirty piss? And
I mean, yeah, it was a little weird. It was a little weird.
Yeah, Seattle.
Beautiful town, though. I will say that Seattle's fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, just to be there in the sea, and like just
flying into it is great. Flying into Seattle is so pretty.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Anything really on the West Coast.
We drove from like the Oregon coast from Portland to Washington.
Is that Highway 1 that goes up there?
I think so. I'm not sure, but man, that was like I swear, I've toured quite a lot in my years. Ooh. And I've been on through a lot of long drives looking out the window, and that was the prettiest drive. Just nothing but beautiful green trees, beautiful weather. Like, it was like the best. Like, I could just get lost in this moment.
Yeah, in between Northern California and all the way up to the Canadian border. One of the prettiest drives I've ever done in my life, hands down.
Yeah,
I love it up there. I don't know if I would ever live there, but I love going.
I don't think anyone can afford to live there.
I'm going to Phoenix. If I'm going to move anywhere, I learned how cheap housing is in Phoenix. In Phoenix, yeah,
because it's so fucking hot.
I'll deal with the heat. That's why they have air conditioning. Fuck it, man. I was like, I can work for 3 months here and go buy an MTV crib style house in Phoenix.
Well, that's why
I might be like living next to like Roger and Diana, the 95-year-old couple who is, super retired, but whatever.
Roger and Diane. That's such an old couple neighbor.
All that bocce ball on the weekends, like
bocce ball. Diane is like your mom's friend.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, I'm just checking in on you. Got a phone call from your mom this morning. Said you weren't returning her calls. Gosh. Thanks, Diane. Diane, your dog shit on my yard again. Can you take care of that?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry.
Sorry.
Because she's from Minnesota.
100% from Minnesota, yeah.
There's every Diane that's ever been called or been named Diane. They're all from Minnesota.
Yeah.
Or Wisconsin.
Yeah, we just breed them up there. Yeah. That's the only... It's state law, actually.
Oh, man.
One of your children has to be named Diane.
Do you... I have a question for you. How are you going to watch... Are you at all involved with this Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather fight at all? Because I know you watch sports, and so I was wondering if you were just into that at all.
I'm into those big fights. I don't watch enough fights, but I'm into like the big ones that like really draw. I I've gotten a lot of like flack for it, and now I'm curious to see what your reaction is, and all these cameras over here and a microphone in your face. I'm only on just like, because I have no principle to base it off of. I'm just picking who. I
mean, I was just asking.
I'm going for Conor McGregor.
Oh, okay.
That's who I want.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody wants that to be the story.
Everyone I've talked to is all Mayweather.
Well, I mean, they just. It's weird. I mean, I've talked about it on the podcast for so long, but like, I'm so excited about it. I don't want to stop talking about it until it actually happens. You know, the way I see it is, the people who are really into boxing and like just watch it religiously, and they see this as a sideshow. You know, they see it as a circus. They see it as like it hurts the sport of boxing and the image of boxing. And I'm sitting here thinking, you know, I get that. I understand like the tarnishing of the name, but at the same time, like, sports can be fun.
Yeah. 100%.
You know, and you can't deny how fascinating it is, because we all want to know, you know, we've kind of seen examples of MMA fighters kind of like trying their hands in boxing and failing miserably.
Yeah.
But there's something different about Conor McGregor. And I know that's like cliche to say, it's like, oh, he's a fighter, but no, there's something different about him.
Yeah.
You know, if anybody can transfer and do this amazing feat, beating Floyd Mayweather, it has to be, it'd be Conor McGregor to do it.
Yeah.
Because he's 100%. Just fucking, he's different.
I mean, for me, the big thing in the fight is I don't want it to be, and like I said, I don't follow enough, so I can't remember who she was up against, but Ronda Rousey, where she went down like right away, like the big fight, and then she goes down right away. I'm like, I don't want this to be another one of those. I want like I want an actual battle between the two of them.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing about that Ronda Rousey fight, it's like, it was the moment where we all see, because you know, in retrospect, you look at Ronda Rousey's fights and the women that she fought. Granted, all those women could kick my ass, but there's a different breed of woman fighting in the UFC now. You have Amanda Nunes, who also beat her. You have Holly Holm, who's a fantastic striker, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, you have these women who they grew up with, you know, a certain sport, and Ronda did too, but there's something different about these new breed of women who are fighting the UFC.
I mean, and it's like any sport.
Joanna Jędrzejczyk, if you ever watched her, I think she's a better striker than fucking Bruce Lee. And I mean, wow. Seriously, like, she might be the best striker in the UFC to date, because she's 125 pounds, I think, but she's so quick, and she's like pat 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 pat, pat like just like throwing, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? Was that a kick or was that a punch? Was that both? What the hell? It was like, what the hell? She's so good, and she's so quick, and like that. Like, these new, better equipped women are fighting, and just better equipped fighters in general in the UFC are coming out, and just like fighters that you never thought would be beaten are getting beaten by these fucking 25-year-old kids that just have something, and they grew up with the sport of UFC and understand and have the confidence, and they come in here and they kill. They have, you know, confidence is such a huge thing, and that's why I think, like, don't underestimate Conor McGregor, because he truly believes 100% in his being that he can beat Floyd Mayweather handily. Yeah,
that's why I'm on McGregor's side. And I don't know. I think Mayweather has like just a big mouth, and I would love to see him go down.
I think, but
he's got the clout for it. Like he
backs it up, man.
Yeah, exactly. If you're gonna run your mouth and you can back it up, then keep running your mouth, man. Like,
and you know what? Like, a lot of that too is like, he built that persona, because he realized by doing that, that if I'm the villain, I get paid more.
It's true.
So I'm gonna build this up. I'll be the villain. I don't care, because if you hate me, you're gonna buy the ticket.
It's just like the comics. Like, every hero needs a villain. Without the villain, and the villain's usually liked more than, you know, they're hated, but they're also more liked than.
Yeah, it's funny though, because McGregor is kind of the villain in a lot of people's eyes in the UFC. Like, a lot of people would love to see Conor McGregor get his ass whooped.
Yeah, that's why it's such a good fight. So yeah, I'm interested to see it though. It'll be definitely one I take the time to watch.
All right, I think I think we need to wrap this up. We've been talking about an hour and a half, I think. So I'm going to wrap this up with how do you think, because I know you're a Packers fan.
Yeah.
And my mother's a Packers fan. I know the last season was kind of rough. It's heartbreaking. Yeah. I was heartbroken because my Giants fucking failed miserably, of course, because they're fucking Giants and they can't just be consistent for more than 2 fucking years.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you have high hopes for the Packers next year?
I do. I say it every year. I'm a big football nerd. Football and hockey are my 2 sports where I like geek out on them. It's only week 1 of preseason. As long as we stay healthy, if we lose any key players, my opinion will change, but I think we're going to win the Super Bowl this year.
So people have been healthy, because that was the big problem with the Packers last year. Is you guys lost a lot of linemen, didn't you? Like a lot of linemen.
We lost linemen, then we lost Jordy Nelson. Aaron Rodgers was never healthy. I mean, he's been struggling on and off the last few years with little things. So I think if we can stay healthy, and there's always going to be injuries. Like there's no team that stays healthy, throughout the season.
Right.
But I really think I'm calling it right now, looking at a camera and on a microphone. Packers win the Super Bowl. I think I don't know who they play. I don't think it'll be the Patriots. But they're going to win. The only reason I say that is because the Preds lost in the Stanley Cup Finals, and because of my whole ordeal, which that'll take another half hour if I start talking about that. Because of my whole ordeal and having to miss all of hockey, I think karma is going to
come your way.
Yeah.
All
Plus,
right.
I'm going to the Motherland for a game this year. I'm going to Lambeau. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Have you ever been?
I've been once when I was 4th or 5th grade. My dad and I, it was the year they won '96 when they won the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah,
dude, that's awesome.
If they won that year when I went to the Motherland, so here's to hoping.
Yeah, dude. What was I going to say? I was going to say something on this. Oh yeah. Well, me and Mikey actually talked about it a little bit on the last podcast, but he's really into the Bachelorette. Right.
Ooh.
And he explains the story, like how him and his friend were just out drinking, were at their house and just having a good time, and Bachelorette was on in the background, and they just overhear like these yelling and craziness going on. They're like, what the fuck is going on? They sit down to like watch what was going on, and then by the end of it they love the show. I love the craziness, all of it.
I became very obsessed with the last season of The Bachelorette.
And that was the season with Aaron Rodgers' brother.
I thought about. So I will say this. I knew Jordan Rodgers was that he had won The Bachelorette I think it was like week 5.
How did you know that?
He came up to my job. Really awesome band that actually the first time I ever went to Warped Tour. We'll just wrap it all together.
Yeah.
This band Emery, they were playing and I was bartending the show. It was a small acoustic show. And I'm like setting up the bar and I hear this dude who sounds like Aaron Rodgers. Like that's how much of a football nerd and Packers nerd I am. I hear Aaron Rodgers' voice and I was like, where is he? And I look up and I'm like, I see that it looks like Aaron Rodgers, but it's not Aaron Rodgers. I go, oh, that's Jordan. I knew he went to college here. Didn't know anything about The Bachelorette. Well, they started talking and I was kind of eavesdropping and they were talking about The Bachelorette. And one of the guys in the band asked, did you win? And he goes, I can't talk about that. And I looked up just in time for him to wink. Or what I saw was a wink. I thought about buying a plane ticket that night and going out to Vegas and putting my money on it because it was so early in the season.
Oh, dude. Could you imagine if you did?
Yeah.
And you're like, fucking, because what are the odds? Like, if you bet $100, like, is it just double the odds? Or
I think so, yeah. But that early in the season, I think it grows. The money actually grows. Like, if it gets further to the end, there's like 4 contestants. I don't think it's much money. But, yeah, when you bet on stuff like that early in the season...
You get some money.
I thought about going and doing it. But yeah, I called it the whole time. I was like, Jordan Rodgers, he's going to win it. But Aaron Rodgers.
He probably been the favorite though, because like, he has a celebrity brother and like, he just like, of course he's going to win, Yep.
That's the other thing. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have his girlfriend this year. So God bless Olivia Munn. Cause I think she's the coolest fucking girl. I mean, nerd gamer, like sports girl. Olivia Munn, if you're out there, come marry me, please. But Aaron Rodgers is single, so I think...
Are you going to go for him?
Aaron Rodgers, if you're out there, please come marry me. I'll take either or out of this situation. Like a divorce, mom or dad, I don't care. Just send me with one of them. I'll take them. No, I think that's going to give him a clear head, too. So I think lots of good things.
All right.
But yeah.
So I vaguely remember watching briefly, like bits and pieces of like the family of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And how they just never brought up Aaron, or like Jordan had mentioned that him and his brother kind of don't like talk anymore. And like, I'm just sitting here thinking like, what happened? Like, what is going on with this family? Is this all fake? Is this all for the TV or?
No, it's apparently real life. They didn't like Olivia, and Aaron, good man he is. He stuck by his girl. Yeah, it's family versus a girl, but he loved her enough that I think he just kind of said, screw it. From what I read and what I heard, he was like, didn't even tell his family where his new house was that he moved into. He doesn't go home for holidays.
Jeez.
So, well, I don't know if that changes now that she's gone, but it was all real. It was probably exaggerated for TV purposes, but that's all real stuff. Yeah.
Damn.
Whatever.
I mean, yeah. I just thought that was just like, I don't know how I feel about this. Because it seems that Aaron Rodgers doesn't like, he just seems like he doesn't want anything to do with it. Like, he just like, fucking, why are you using my name to further your gain? Like, it almost feels that way to me. Like, and I kind of felt like kind of icky, like enjoying it. Yeah. It's like, I kind of like this.
Damn it, Bachelorette, you got me. You got me.
That's the truth, man. It's reality TV.
It is. They make him the villain in it, and that's...
Yeah, it almost felt like they made him the villain. I was like, wait a minute, he's not around to defend himself here.
Yeah, but there's like that element of... I think Jordan, like a lot of people do in any sports, I've got an older brother. I'm going to be... Or, like it'd be like if I was your brother and was like, oh, Shane's a phenomenal drummer. I'm going to be a phenomenal drummer, and I should just get called up to be in a band or whatever. And people think that, like, oh, if my brother's won a Super Bowl, someone's just going to draft me and I'll be the next best quarterback as well because I got the last name. Right. And so, and I think Aaron was like, no, you got to work for it. That's what I picture him being like. It's like, no, if you want to be me, you're going to have to work to be me. It's not just the last name. So, and I don't think the family wanted that. I think the family wanted him to kind of pull his brother along with him.
Expand his coattails a little bit. Here, right on.
Yeah, that's the way of putting it. Yeah, just hop on these coattails. So it was made for great TV drama.
I mean,
I'm not gonna lie,
I enjoyed it.
I definitely enjoyed it as well. I haven't watched any more of that show since, but
my buddy Mikey and his friend they tell me they would just get drunk and watch it and just be like, this is so fascinating. I'm like, you guys need to make it like a podcast or something like, or a YouTube show where it's like reactions of The Bachelor or something like that. And he never did it, but like, something like that would be hilarious. I know that he told me of a rapper that there's a show that he has where he gets high and watches Ancient Aliens.
That's amazing, and I need to find that.
I need to find it too. I got to listen back to the podcast and listen where the show is and what URL it is.
Snoop did like Planet Earth or whatever, or he did like some National Geographic one.
Did he really?
Yeah, and it's just Snoop high as like I can't even remember like some of the things he does, but it's hilarious. Listen to Snoop Dogg just stoned out of his mind,
just look at it.
Talking about lizards and shit. It's incredible.
Man, that lizard killed that guy.
Yeah. It's like literally stuff like that. He's like, oh, shit. You better run. Like, it's like stuff like that. Like him just like trying to talk through the TV to these animals.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant. And he did that show with Martha Stewart.
Yeah. It was like a high cooking show, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was like cooking high or high temperature or something, like some play on words.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? We live in a crazy world, Spence.
We do.
We live in a crazy world.
I need to get on this train and start doing something.
Start thinking outside the box. Well, man, let's wrap it up, man. I appreciate you coming to the place and being on the show.
Dude, thank you for
wanted you to be on the show for a while now, and
thank you for having me. And I've wanted to be on this show for a while. I see you post about it, and obviously we've got plenty of mutual friends that have been on it. But I feel honored that you asked me to be here, and now I get to go to my next radio show.
Yeah, now you get to go to the next one.
I feel like a celebrity. You know?
Where are you going next?
I head down to Acme Feed and Seed. We're at 9:00. We're doing a bartending radio show called Cocktails.
Right on. And it's it like a podcast, or it's on XM Radio?
It's like podcast XM Radio. You have to go through the actual Acme Feed and Seed app.
Okay.
But it's like XM Radio. But we're going to go talk about Corona tonight.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. Go meet with the Corona distillers or brewers and drink Corona all night.
Right on. Is there anything you need to plug?
No.
Other than that,
happy birthday, Dad! It's my dad's birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday!
What's your
dad's name again?
Mike.
I met him. Mike. Happy birthday, Mike!
Yeah.
Your parents were adorable, by the way, when we met them.
They're more well liked than I am. Don't know how that works.
Don't sell yourself short, dear.
A little short. No, otherwise I got nothing to plug.
You'll see him next year at Warped Tour, I'm sure. Yeah,
I got my hashtag Speedo Spencer.
There you go.
Speedo Spencer.
Speedo Spencer.
Instagram is at Bangarang. BANGAHRANG. That's all I got.
No Twitter?
I'm not cool enough. No, I can't keep up with Twitter.
It's hard.
Dude,
I can't keep up with it.
I need to get a robot or whatever those are to function my Twitter account.
I lost my blue check because I didn't know that if you change your name, you lose your blue check. So I lost it, and I tried to get it back, and of course they never email me back.
I always wanted the blue check. I feel like that was, for a long time, that was a life goal. I felt like I made it in life.
Well, guess what? Fuck the blue check. That's what I say. Fuck you in your blue check, Twitter. I don't need your fucking blue check. How about that?
Well, they're not going to get my blue check now. I give up on Twitter.
That's right. Let's all band together.
I'm going back to Zanga.
We're blue checklists. We are the checklist. Let's start our own fist up.
With recent events, we got to be careful with what's
we have to be very careful. But still, Twitter, give me my blue check, man. Yeah. Come on, it's me. All right, I don't have to prove it to you.
Yeah, I will verify for him.
Thank you.
Yeah,
get your verification process down, you fucks. All right,
my man. Thank you again for having me.
Thanks for being on the show, buddy.
Love you, dude.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I love you. Woo!
Yeah.
Thanks always for listening, guys. Hope you enjoy these podcasts as much as I do. Please subscribe and rate the podcast. Follow the Explicit Materia Facebook page where I upload video clips and updates of the podcast, which also goes to my YouTube page, Wise Drums. Hit me up on my Twitter, the Wise Drums, or Instagram @Wise Drums. See y'all next time. Bye.